This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I am delighted to be joined by former world champion Charlie Edwards over Zoom. Charlie, firstly, Happy New Year. Hope you had a good one and a good Christmas. Did you have much going on?
Plenty, loads going on, always loads going on, especially now I've got my daughter Sophia. It's 100 miles an hour. She's growing up. She had her first birthday as well, just before the new year. So we had Christmas, her birthday, then into the new year we just had a chilled one, and then now we've come back out to Portugal for a little 10 days break while I can start training in my new gym that we got built in the house. So I'm having a little kind of like pre-camp kind of fitness kind of thing in the nice weather, in the sun and that. So everything's all good. Busy. It was a busy family time over Christmas, like it is for everyone, but it was enjoyable and it was essential and needed. So yeah, looking forward to this new year. 2022 is going to be a very busy one for me.
Charlie, just to go straight in and pick up on that, you said 2022 will be a very busy one for you. I mean, on the back of fighting Martinez, you fought once in 2020, once in 2021. Talk to me about these last couple of years of your career, Charlie. What have you been up to which has meant you haven't been as active as what most boxers would have probably been, especially somebody with what you've achieved in the sport? I don't imagine it would have been difficult to get out if you'd have wanted to.
I think a big part of it was the COVID situation. It really messed things and fucked things up, really. I was supposed to fight before the COVID hit, and then my fight got cancelled, and it pushed my fight back even longer to 2020 when I boxed Carl Williams. And then after that, it was still COVID. I didn't enjoy that fight. I really didn't enjoy that fight. Behind closed doors, it just weren't for me. Like, I was used to fighting in front of 20,000 people at the O2 Arena, you know what I mean? And fighting Carl Williams, no disrespect for him, decent fighter, but I won every round and it was quite a comfortable fight, and there was no title on the line, there was no buzz behind it, and I didn't enjoy behind the closed doors. So it kind of questioned me whether I was going to box again after that fight. I was thinking, do you know what? I've achieved what I've set out to achieve. My boyhood dream to become a world champion. If it's staying like this, it doesn't fulfill me, you know? Like, I'm not in the sport because I love fighting. I like performing and like entertaining the fans, and I love the buzz of being in there and doing my thing in front of thousands, you know? So I had to question a lot of things. I never retired or in my head, but I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do this no more. So me and my wife, my family, I made the decision to jump to Portugal. So then from that fight in March, I ended up going to Portugal, and this was all during COVID times. And we was looking for a new house to live in, like our forever after home sort of thing. Then being out there doing all my searching was stressful, looking at about 25, 30 properties. It was a complete headache. But being away from the sport, I really missed it. I really missed it. And I was battling myself every single day, always on my mind. Although I was training and keeping fit, because I do that regularly anyway, just for my own mental health sort of things. It weren't sitting right with me, like not boxing. And it made me really reassess things, rethink things. And if you like, it relit my fire a little bit. I was with Grant Smith and Steel City Gym. When I left for Portugal, I decided to leave that gym anyway. I went in and decided to leave. So in February sort of things, I left. And then I was like coachless. Didn't know where my boxing career was going. Didn't really think I wanted it anymore. Then it started coming around and I started thinking about it every day. And then me and Joe Gallagher always used to speak on social media. We've been friends for a while. I've went and sparred Paul Butler for his world title fights as a paid sparring partner, so I knew the setup and everything like that. And while I was out in Portugal, because Joe obviously comes out here a lot, he was telling me little places to go and stuff like that, and started checking them out. And then Joe said he was out in Portugal. If you want, we'll catch up on a little bit of coffee and a little bit of lunch. So we ended up having a bit of lunch together, and I kind of just like broke down a little bit, if I'm honest, and just was totally honest where I was, like where my confidence was really low. I weren't believing in myself as much as I once used to. the weight, what I'd done to myself and put my body through making that weight really made me depressed, and I suffered a real big bit of depression along the way. And I was just like basically on rock bottom. And he put his arm around me, which I really needed, and he was there for me. He talked to me. He was like, right, why don't we do a few sessions this week? He was on holiday. Why don't we do a few sessions this week and just see how you were? Because I had a base level of fitness anyway. And then we end up going down the gym, and you know what? I really respected that. He was on his holiday, and he wanted to put some time into me and do some sessions, and we've gelled really well. And the back end of the week, he said to me, he said, so what are you thinking? I was like, you know what, Joe, I'll be honest with you, I can't stop thinking about boxing. I haven't for a long while, but I just was a bit of no man's land. And he went, well, if that's how you feel, he said, get back to England for a little bit, come down the gym, see the gym environment that we're in, do a few sessions, see how you feel, don't put no pressure on yourself, and then we'll go from there. And then once we finally moved into our house in Portugal and that kind of stress and everything was done with, my missus hated me for this, but we was in the house 2-3 weeks, and I was like, I'm in our own what to do, and I was like, babe, I need to go back to England. I need to get back in the gym. And she laughed. She goes, I knew this was happen. You just needed to find out yourself, within yourself, what you really wanted. Went back to England and then went down the gym. And when I walked through them doors, I just felt so welcome. I felt like this is the place where I needed to be. The gym's buzzing. Joe's very particular and very on it. And he's a very, very hard-working coach, which is something that I really thrive off, because I always like to try and be the best in the gym, sort of thing. I've got Paul Butler in there, who is a great sparring partner, and he's obviously going on to fight for the world title very soon again. So it was just a no-brainer for me, and it really lit my fire. And Joe even put his arm around me, and we laugh about it now. And he was like, just imagine if you had walked away all them years, you would have been all them years wasted. Like, you got too much potential. You're a former world champion, and you're only just coming into the peak of your career now. You're mature, you're getting stronger, and you've got the experience. What more can you ask? Theoretically, this is where it should be coming into the not the easier years, because you're in bigger fights, but it should be that where you feel most at home.
Charlie, it's great to hear how good your personal relationship is with Joe away from boxing. I've got nothing but good things to say about Joe myself, but with yourself and your career, talk to me about working with Joe. What you feel that he's able to starting to bring out of you, which maybe you might have lost along the way over his last couple of years.
I feel like Joe's like it's another level sort of training with Joe. Like, I've always been a fit fighter. But the way he constructs his team, I'm training with Johnny Velocity as well, and Joe and him are very much like side by side. They communicate to each other. The training regime is bang on. The gym's great. Everyone comes in and out of there for sparring. Like, I sparred Cash Farouk just before he's retired, which I need to say a lot of thanks to him for them few rounds that we did together, and what a sad thing it is, and send him and his family my love. And Jack Bateson in the gym. I've been sparring like Paul Butler. There's been loads of different variety of lads coming through that gym, and it's like you're in gym fights every time you're in there, and it's a place you want to perform. And Joe's very like particular. He says his things. He watches you, even if you're on the bag. His eyes are on you. He don't miss a trick, so you always want to perform.
Charlie, just to pick up on Cash there, I feel like it's a topic which we more than should touch on. Very sad news to see him announce his retirement unexpectedly from the sport. As you said, you saw him most recently sparring him just before that announcement. What went through your mind when you heard it, and what would you like to say to Cash personally?
To be fair, I've already sent Cash a private message, and I just said to him, like, health's wealth, and then that is the realest thing of this life. We're all fighters, we're all boxers, and we really sometimes get in the zone that we think this is all there is, but there's more to life than just boxing. Your family are majorly important, the future, kids along the way, everything like that. You've got to look at the bigger picture sometimes. It's a very sad time to hear that as well, what happened to him. And it puts things into perspective. You know, boxing's no joke. It's a serious game, and yet we are putting our lives on the line every time we step in that ring, and not putting them on the line, but every time we come out of that ring, we're taking little percentages off our life as well, because to get punched in the head and take damage is not a good thing to do for any human being. And to do it over a 10, 15, 20-year career, it is affecting your brain faculties a little bit. So it was a real eye-opener. It was crazy because I'd only sparred him just before my last fight in probably just before December. I fought December the 3rd, and I sparred him a month before, and it's like, it's sad, very sad, but it's good in a way that he's had the checks, he knows what he's dealing with, he's been able to make the decision, and it's not fatal, and he can go on and have a very stellarless career throughout the boxing world still. He's a very nice lad, very polite, and I'm sure he'll have a big future in the boxing game.
100%. I'd echo those words. Cash is a great guy, and wish him nothing but the best with whatever life brings him now. Just to come obviously back onto yourself, though, Charlie. Leaving Grant, you two had some great success together. I'm sure you got some great memories working with him. How difficult of a decision was that, or was it more so difficult linking up with a new trainer coming back to the UK?
I've got to first and foremost thank Grant for a lot. He done a lot by me, and he really supported me when I was on rock bottom as well. I just feel like that time had come to an end after 3 years training together, after the Martinez fight, after losing confidence, and that I felt like I needed a fresh start. So it wasn't nothing like aimed towards him, because he's a great coach, and anyone that always asks about him or are thinking to go to him, I would really advise him to, because he's a good coach, great coach. My brother's still there in training with him, but I felt like I needed a new, fresh start. I needed to leave the past in the past and not be reminded by it anymore. You know, it haunted me a lot, what happened to me in that fight. I shouldn't have fought that night, really, looking back now, but you live and you learn. I looked at the short-term money because it was the biggest payday of my career at that date. It put me back 2 years, really, because it's been a long, hard battle to get back to the happy, healthy, firing on all cylinders, positive Charlie. You know, it took a long while to get through that defeat. So that's another reason why I've probably been umming and ahhing whether I was going to do it or not. So it was tough to make that decision, because Grant's a very good friend of mine, and he will always be a very good friend of mine. Like, I was out in Dubai with Sonny and the team. I spent the whole week there, as well as being with Joe and Paul. So it was a hard decision to make, and it probably took me a long time, and that's why I was thinking about leaving the sport as well, because I just didn't know how to go to another coach. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go on the announcements and have all this media attention. That's why I've stayed away from the media and made my career kind of go really quiet, because I didn't want to like, I've got a lot of love for Grant, and I didn't want that to be all chucked in the air, especially before Sonny's big fights.
Moving away from that then, Charlie, coming on to what can be next in the next phase of your career. You've spoken about the struggles to make weight down at flyweight. So going up to bantam now, is an extra £3. Is that enough for you?
Yeah, most definitely. I've realised my last fight, I could have been in the ring the same strength at super flyweight. I think super flyweight is my world title next fight as at super flyweight, while I still outgrow the weight into a strong bantamweight. I felt very good at bantamweight, but no disrespect to my last opponent, he was European level. The world level from European level is a massive, massive jump. I can make super flyweight, so my eyes is to fight at for world titles at super flyweight. But then mix it as well at bantamweight. Keep my rankings in both weights, and where the opportunity arises. Boxing's a funny old game. Titles become vacant. You slip in at the right time with the right opponent at the right time when they're struggling for weight. It's all over the place, boxing. So it's just where the opportunities arises. I've got I've got a good name. I'm one of the Edwards brothers. We're both. I'm former world champion. My brother is world champion right now. That talks for itself. So I'm always going to be in big fights. I'm always going to get the good opportunities, and I've done the hardship climbing to this point. So it's going to be very interesting this year. What's in the pipeline?
You mentioned that world scene at 115. Then, what do you make of it? How far off a world title opportunity do you feel you are?
I'm not that far off. Put it that way. I've been speaking to my management, so I can't really speak openly about what we're talking about and what we're planning, because obviously you don't like to talk things that haven't been signed, sealed, and delivered in this game. Because as you well know, boxing is a mad sport and things change. But I'm a free agent, and I'm a free agent right now, and I'm in talks with Pro Bellum with a deal at the moment, and yeah, so the future is very bright.
I know you don't want to talk too much on it then. Do you have a time frame in mind as to when you'd like to be on world honours again?
I believe I'll be world champion by the end of the year.
Just to touch on a couple of other things then, as you mentioned, Paul Butler, somebody you're training with now. What did you make of the entire Casemiro situation?
You know what? On that whole situation, like Casemiro was ill. I think it went down as everyone knew on the week he was very struggling for the weight. You could see that, which probably caused him to become ill. He looked awful, really bad. And with the regards of Paul not fighting is it Sacco Becco? Is that it? Becco?
No, I've forgotten myself now.
It is Becco, the African.
Yes.
Was in this by standby, and I book Paul, I book Joe and the team. I book them right, you know, to fight your stepping person for not a legit world title. Why would you risk fighting someone like that when you can just wait, bide your time, go again and fight for the world title next? It just don't make sense. So it was a good move, I believe, from Paul and Joe and the team, that he didn't fight the step-in guy because he weren't for a world title. It was for the was it for the regular or the one before?
Would have been the interim, and yeah, Josie
it weren't the regular, was it? It weren't even the regular, so like interim. So like when you win an interim title, like you're not really classed as the world champion, you know, and to fight someone who's risky, who can bang, that's the last thing you lose as a fighter, is the punching power. For an interim title with a false promise that could maybe not have happened, you might as well just wait and fight Casemiro when he's better. So I booked them right.
Coming on to your brother Charlie, you know, he's had quite a couple of years becoming world champion, now looking towards a potential fight with Julio Cesar Martinez. What have you made of Sonny's rise?
I think if you go back on many interviews I think I've done with Boxing Social, many interviews I've done with a lot of the boxing media, I've always said from early when Sonny was coming through the ranks, watch out for my brother. He's got one of them kind of special styles. He's a special fighter that not many boxers and not many fighters can do. He's got the footwork, the reactions, the IQ, like kind of Floyd Mayweather. I said that and people would laugh and take the piss and say we're deluded and stuff like that. But Sonny is a special fighter, and it talks for himself the way he's performing now. So yeah, let's not be real. Julio Cesar Martinez is a very hard fight, you know, very hard fight. But Sonny definitely has the style to upset the apple cart.
How confident are you in Sonny in that fight, Charlie? And
I believe
it's personal with what happened as well for yourself. Do you feel like it's personal as family?
I think definitely. I think Sonny will want to go get that title even more so because of what happened in there between me and Martinez. And Sonny also knows I shouldn't have been in that ring that night, really, with the weight. So he wants to go out there and put the record straight. And I believe he can do it. Like, he's got the style too, you know. Martinez is very good. Like, he can punch. He's very explosive. He's going to be rough, dirty, in his face, anything. But I just believe sometimes styles make fights, and sometimes things are written. And I think this is a part of Sonny Edwards' legacy.
Just a couple more fights. I want to get your thoughts on which are coming up, Charlie. I'm sure you'll be tuning in. Amir Khan, Cal Brook, Feb 19th. What are your thoughts?
I don't know, you know, like, this is the thing, like, it's a general in my head, like a 50-50 fight. And I know people say that they're not looking forward to it. Oh, it's over the hill. But for me, it's not. Like, it's a proper buzz fight. Like, I can't wait to go down and watch it. I can see it going either way. Either one of them could stop each other. I don't really see it going 12 rounds. It's a needle fight. The press conference is going to be great. Everything's going to be good. And may the best man win, you know. People say, oh, yeah, they're both over the hill. But that's what makes it the better fight now, because it's not like one's in their prime and one's like on the back end of the career. They're both fighting for pride. They're both fighting on the back end of their career to go out with them bragging rights that they will live on forevermore. So it makes a very good fight.
We've spoken a lot about weight, Charlie, during this interview, and in that fight, it's at 149. People speak about Cal Brook and how he makes weight, and if it's going to be a struggle for him. Do you think it will be tough for him getting down to 149 and he's not allowed to weigh more than 163 and a half the following day? All the weight clauses, you know, what do you make of it?
I think weight clauses, like, the weight is a very, very, very big factor in the sport of boxing, which the general public and other fat boxing fans, they do not ever can take into consideration. So yeah, it could play in Amir Khan's favour, definitely. However, I think Kel's just going to be on it, like, completely on it. Like, this is like his do or die sort of fight. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's got confidence that he can knock Khan out. He's not going up against like a Golovkin or an Elroy Spence. He generally believes that he can beat him, so that will help in his training. He'll prepare to his absolute best, and he won't want to lose. So it could favour Khan with this, but I think Kel's accepted it, knowing what he's capable of when he's got his head and heart and soul in it.
And Charlie, final one: Chris Eubank Jr. and Liam Williams. Again, your take?
Again, it's another 50-50 fight. A great fight for the British fans. Very great fight. I personally think that it's going to be a rough, tough fight, but I'm leaning towards Chris Eubank Jr. more. I just think he's bigger. But then Liam's very strong as well, so it's one of them ones. I'm leaning more towards Chris on that one.
Right, Charlie, we'll leave it now and we'll leave you to enjoy it for the rest of your evening. But I'm going to leave a final word to yourself. Obviously, everybody waiting to see you back in the ring. What would you like to say to those?
I just want to say a big, massive thank you for all the supporters who do continue to support me. I've got nothing but love and respect of people wanting me to get back into the ring. Although I've been going through a tough to sometimes to read that, like, it ruffles my feathers, because I'm trying to battle, but I'm so happy and glad now I've got through that tough time. I can get back into the ring and be performing on all cylinders again, and with my new team, with my new setup. I want to say a massive thank you to my sponsors, Cox Consultant, who stayed with me all through this hard time, the highs and the lows. My other sponsor, Reese Meany from Hunter Jones Invest, Adidas Boxing, who's always stuck by me, and the bad days are over. This 2022 is going to be a great year for us all, and I look forward to being rewarded with the new world champion at the end of the year. And it's going to be nice to give it all back to my fans, who's continued to support me, believed in me, and push and want me to strive to them honours.
Charlie, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you for the first time in a while. Hopefully we'll see you in person soon and we can catch up, man. Enjoy the rest of your night, like I say, and thank you for speaking to me on Boxing Social.
Thanks for having me on, man. See you later.